Thank you, Jane, for that brilliant introduction. I'm unworthy. Right, so what I'm going to talk about is looking at the investment trends into blockchain and fintech and what they mean for the future. The very first thing is my legal disclaimer. I apologize. Nothing I say is any kind of investment advice. So what I'm going to talk about, VC and corporate investment in blockchain and crypto, the ICO ecosystem, the backdrop of fintech investment, and then I'm going to take a few speculations for the future. So now on to VC and corporate investment. This is real money invested by corporations or private equity people who are looking for a real return from this technology. So here we have it. So in 2019, $1.8 billion went into blockchain and crypto investments from private equity, compared to the previous year where it was 3.9 million. So it's down by 2 billion, but the number of projects is about the same. What are they invested in? These are the cumulative figures. Payments, infrastructure, it's the building of more efficient blockchains, stable coins, and middleware. Exchanges they've invested in. They invested a lot in hardware, and I don't know whether to do mining, and I don't know whether that investment now is as good as it seemed 5 or 6 years ago. Investing into capital markets, and that's twofold. One, to create capital markets around blockchain and crypto, and secondly, to bring the process improvements of blockchain to existing capital markets. And then you can see the other segments there. This is looking at the 2019 trends. The most popular area for investment was exchanges up on their traditional, the cumulative investment of 13%, a quarter of the money went into exchanges. Payments conformed to the trend, about a quarter of the investment. Digital assets and projects, they're up on the investment trends, whereas coin infrastructure and capital market investment was down. Now, to take on further the illustrations from IBM blockchain, here at Trade Finance, you have 6 very powerful consortiums. The corporate use of blockchain is there. It is a thing. It is working. It's been proven. It is processing transactions now. And if you look in the left-hand corner, you see TradeLens, which started off as an IBM and Maersk collaboration, but now is processing data, and they're up to 16 million containers. And I come back to that at the end of my talk. Again, looking at the corporate blockchains, they're everywhere. And I think, looking at it globally, something important's happened. Corporates have got digital transformation. They've also got platforms and platformification. They're now starting to understand the power of blockchain to consolidate their whole trading ecosystem. And this is quite a fundamental shift from corporates who had the concept of simply the firm. They're now looking at the whole ecosystem around the firm. And again, every finance company's looked at it. Food seems to be around provenance. Luxury goods seems to be about a combination of provenance and privacy. Manufacturing is around process. And in the computing world, allegedly you can now, from the cloud, spin up a blockchain application in 30 minutes. I'm told reliably you can do that. and Google provide you with all of the data on the most popular coins. The corporate coin world is there, it's big, it's being used. It will supplement and may challenge the swift way of making global payments. The corporates involved here have gone very quiet after the Libra explosion, which I think has really woken up the regulators to the potential disintermediation of using a coin-based system to do the world's payment processing, both for consumers and both in capital markets. So just to summarize, VC investment has been significant in this area, and the popular areas for investment at the moment are exchanges and payments, and the corporate implementation of blockchain. It's real, but it's changing. Large corporates are starting to understand they live in an ecosystem. So the ICO, STO, IEO, and Bitcoin and other coins environment. And is this a new form of economics? There's no single point of anything. And underlying the distributive nature of the data is a self-reinforcing mutual economic behavior. And that's the part which really hasn't locked in my own opinion, where you have a coin and a business activity, the mutuality between the coin and the business activity as a way of creating economic wealth. We don't have too many examples of that. Here's the roller coaster, month-by-month analysis of ICO investment. You can see it went up to the first quarter of 2018, and it's gone down since then. And by year, this is a bit more understandable that 2018 claimed investment of $15 billion, 2019 down to $3.4 billion. Looking at the mix of the investment, and I've tried to compare two probably incompatible domains. On the right-hand side, you have an analysis of where the investment went from the ICO domain, and on the left-hand side, you have an analysis of where the investment is in tokens which are now being traded. You can see money, DeFi, is 38% in both domains. So money's popular in terms of the investment and what the market values it at. System infrastructure, i.e. better blockchains, stable coins, in the investment sphere, a quarter went in, but over a half of the value in the token market is in system investments. Content and process is higher in the blockchain, in the ICO domain, but lower in the market value domain. In coins and tokens universe, of course, the biggest one, as we all know, is the Bitcoin one. Ethereum 17%, and the other coins are 13%. But the big point I'd like to make is that Bitcoin is still there. Hasn't gone, hasn't died, is still alive. And the other coins are chipping away at the dominance of Bitcoin, but Bitcoin remains the gorilla so far as digital coins are concerned. Looking at the value of the tokens, these are the market value of the tokens. I looked at what I'm trying to get at on this slide is the underlying business activity, the business model of the token world rather than the coin world. And you can see there's the large value coins, large value tokens. You have basic attention token, 400 million, the largest one. You then have 2 gaming ones, one for privacy, and then an old friend, BitTorrent. Who would have believed it? Back from the dead. And in the smaller tokens, this is where it's more interesting, where you have real-life business activities using coins to create that mutual economic relationship. Currency lending, the liquidity of the cryptocurrency world, now up to 4 billion. 2 companies have done 4 billion. DApps, most interesting, they're starting to get a little bit of traction now. If I believe the annualized volume is 61 million a day, that's 22 billion a year. So fintech investment, the backdrop to all of this, 2019 down from 2018, but the reality is when you take China out of these numbers, it's 35% up because China investment reduced by 18 billion. 2018, you had the investment in Ant Financial, that was 14 billion. And China's refocused its investment onto data analytics and blockchain. Loans and payments have taken half of the investment. An investment by region, every region's up with the exception of China. UK fintech investment, as we're in London, spectacular achievement. I'm confounded by this. And probably the UK ecosystem was the largest one in the world for fintech investment last year. And you've got these tremendous companies which have been created over the last 10 years. And the basis of competition, I think, is moving towards ecosystems. And I'll just talk about 3 of the ecosystems. Payment ecosystem, it's red hot, absolutely, in terms of investment, in terms of M&A, in terms of IPO. Every day, there's a new M&A deal being done. Enormous size of deals. And I think this is basically the digitization of money globally is driving this investment. Digital app bank challenges, there's about 50 worldwide, and then 150 neobanks, which bring innovation to banking in terms of experience. APIs, an absolute explosion of financial services APIs you can get. There are 2,000 there, but the largest economic generation of wealth has been providing the layer between the API and the end user, i.e. Plaid was bought for 5 billion by Visa. And what does a digital app bank do is that they create an ecosystem for the customers, and this is an example of how Revolut does it. And digital app banks innovate, and this is an illustration of how Revolut are innovating with cryptocurrency. The emerging world, 13 years ago, Kenya had 4,000 places where you could get money from. Now there are 225 agents where you can take your phone along to and get money. This has led to a boom in investment in African fintechs and a boom in the African ecosystem, tech ecosystem, where you have over 600 tech hubs in Africa. And it's now spilling over into solar power and the provision of individual units of solar power, but it's merging into microgrids. And there's a real problem in creating the energy management of microgrids and the payments, which can be solved by blockchain technologies. future trends and speculations. So I think in terms of change, you might get a segmentation in 4 areas. Large corporate industries with global chains, regional change based on money corridors and trade flows, local change based upon particular local problems, and then vertical chains may be product-based globally, i.e. the provenance of milk globally, and in emerging nations, the provenance of baby milk powder is very, very important. And the control systems, I think you'll have a formal control systems, government or corporate, or the autonomous control systems illustrated by Bitcoin. So when you think about the future, you've got to think about space. Space in the universe is expanding. Space is big, and space is relatively unexplored by humans. And you've also got to think about, when you think about space, you've got to think about science fiction to get imagination from. And what may happen in the future is that chains may become intelligent. Chains may become adaptive. The application of deep learning and artificial intelligence may enable economic chains to be optimized in real time, where you have the combination of artificial intelligence and blockchain. And then you might see the emergence of intelligence, autonomous agents to optimize your position in a chain or a system. And there are a number of investments into that. And then when you get an intelligent chain and intelligent agents, you might see the application of swarm intelligence, i.e. the mathematics behind shoals of fish and flocks of birds to optimize systems. And that's why DeepMind seem to be very interested in the emergence of complex cooperative agents. And then to come back to the example of trade finance, 3 chains there, 1 chain to move your container around the world, another chain to finance it, and another chain to pay for it. You use the coins to interact between the 3 chains, but the autonomous intelligent agent may optimize your position in each of those chains in real time. However, the real killer app for blockchain, I think, may emerge from celebrity. Here you have Eden Hazard working with All Sports Blockchain. That's Real Madrid, great football team. They won 2-0 against Barcelona. And then you have Barcelona. They're going to be bringing out their own token, probably the largest sports brand globally. And once you tokenize football support, you get an immediate integration between brand, content, celebrity, money, messages, e-commerce, and data. And you also get disciples which are greater than blockchain disciples. They love their football even greater than blockchain disciples love blockchain. And their market cap's 50 million. That may be the killer app that gets broad use of tokens. So in conclusion, I think VCs and PCs private equities will continue to invest in blockchain, very focused. There's a sea change amongst corporates now. They're starting to see the emergence of corporates understanding the economic potential of blockchain and using it as a specific business strategy. DApps are just starting to emerge. An enormous amount of blockchain system architecture has been built, but use cases really have to start to emerge. Fintech investment really will start now to push legacy financial services companies. Blockchain and AI, something powerful may emerge from that. And the killer blockchain app, I would like it to be around privacy and data, but I think it may be around celebrity and sports. Thank you very much for listening to me.